I saw a post by UK Music earlier which reminded me about the consultation on copyright and artificial intelligence, and they have created a crib sheet highlighting some specific questions. There are 52 questions in this consultation. They've picked out some key areas and they've offered some comments and bullet points and insights with some suggested examples for response, with the flavour of really opposing data mining that would have an impact on creators. So yeah, I kind of started doing this, and I wasn't sure if you could actually submit the whole thing without completing all of the questions. So I just started firing through it thinking like, I'm gonna get through this in like 5 minutes. It is hefty, honestly. A few of the questions I honestly couldn't answer. So I kind of put no comment or not relevant. And then other things I had to then go into like research mode to actually clarify like what does that mean, or like what is the context of this. From an accessibility point of view, I mean, so the questions were so complex and convoluted that I really feel there are kind of barriers there to engagement, but I set out on this path of feeling like, okay, actually this is really important to contribute to this at this point in time, because I kind of feel like it's one of these things that closes on the 25th of February, and after that the consultation will be closed, and there are other things that are going to feed into that, but it's a case of, you know, too little too late almost. So it kind of felt like, okay, this is frustrating and you know, challenging right now, but how much more frustrating and challenging is it going to be later down the line to have found that there's been not sufficient engagement enough with something to actually implement the changes that are going to be beneficial for you and be helpful for you in your industry. So yeah, I now see, scrolling down to the bottom of the UK Music crib sheet page, they've put a link, a consultation link, and it's saying, you know, you can respond to any of the other questions as you see fit, but there's no requirement to do that. So yeah, I kind of probably went a bit extra there, but there were some really, you know, important questions in there, and the kind of thread around transparency, clarity, and I don't know, a whole theme with all of this stuff of generative models, you know, AI training using other people's content. It's an issue of consent, really, and as creators we really, I feel, should have that ability to be able to police how we feel we want our content to be used. You know, it's enough of a challenge actually getting your stuff out into the world and disseminating it on platforms that are you know, ethically compromised, never mind having to grapple with what is going to be this shifting, changing landscape that is kind of moving at a pace and a rate that feels almost intangible. And one thing I kept picking up on throughout this, it kept making reference to EU legislation. Like, what do you think about the EU's perspective on this and that? And yeah, another element of the benefits that we're missing out on in terms of the EU's approach, you know, the EU's perspective on transparency, the kind of values that are upheld there. So we're doing a hell of a lot of work at the moment in creating our own kind of legislation because of the political situation that we find ourselves in. But yeah, this is a big rant just to say, yeah, if you can spare 20 minutes and you feel that this is important and you are concerned about this, I would encourage you to yeah, even just fire through the key questions that have been highlighted by UK Music and like scrap the other stuff if you don't feel you have capacity. Or yeah, it was a stretch for me, honestly, some of those questions at this time of day. I was like, why is this so convoluted, and why, you know, yeah, unless you are kind of educated to a very specific level, you're just, a lot of this stuff's going to go over your head. So yeah, that is something to kind of consider as well, about, you know, how the hierarchy, the educational hierarchy that's kind of like woven into the way that this consultation is even put together is kind of telling as well. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but yeah, it kind of felt like, okay, this is something that is an uncomfortable reality that I feel like I need to engage with. So yeah, sharing that information there. I will share the links as well to the articles that I've mentioned, and yeah, even if you don't feel you have capacity, but you know other people in your network that might do, or other organisations that actually have a bit more resource and bandwidth to contribute to that, definitely signpost and send it their way, because I think, yeah, this is an important one.